Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live, if I get in the middle of the shot, on Trick or Treat night. So if the doorbell rings, you know what's happening. And I must warn you in advance, I've spent the last probably 3 minutes trying to humanely get a fly out of this room. So if anyone's seen the Breaking Bad episode where they can't get rid of the fly, I am currently experiencing that. I hope he doesn't land on the camera. We are here to preview the Championship game week number 15. If you are here, if you are in the feed, let me know. Help me out with the predictions. Will the congestion ease up in the top half? There are currently 6 points separating the entire top half of the Championship. It's very, very, very tight. 2 more games until international break number 3, and things not really shaking out at all yet. There's no one single team on 2 points per game, not really even a leading group. It's really anyone's at this stage. If anyone wants to do what Norwich did last year and go on a run now, they may well turn out to be uncatchable. We shall see. Let's start at the top, and it's a stretched out game week again because we're going to Monday night this week, and our leaders West Brom visit Stoke on Monday night. Currently West Brom first, Stoke 23rd, although the likelihood of West Brom still being top by Monday night is slim. There are 3 teams that could overtake them with a win in their sights, even 4 with the goal difference of Sheffield Wednesday. West Brom with 2 draws in that 3-game week. Again, another team dropping off the points per game. They're dropping below the normal standard we expect of a Championship winner. Back-to-back away games coming up for the Baggies. Still only 1 defeat in the league this season for them. Stoke have lost their last 2 without scoring a single goal in either. Defeat here would heap the pressure on a very, very big away game coming up with them for Nathan Jones at Barnsley. Super Leeds says 2-1 West Bromwich Albion in this one. Looking at this one, we've got to really go with West Brom, although they are at Stoke, and we had that weird couple of games that Stoke had against Fulham and Swansea, where they actually ended up winning both of them. I think it's looking a different matter, and I think it's going to be a West Brom win, and it's just setting up for another make or break night for Nathan Jones against Barnsley as we go into international break number 3. So I'm going to go for a West Brom victory in this one. Game number 2 is on Sunday. So again, the context may well have changed by then. It's Charlton versus Preston. Preston currently 2nd, Charlton currently 9th. Preston, 1 defeat in 11 games for them. Brilliant comeback against Blackburn last time out. But again, with all of these teams at the top, only 2 wins in 6. But the general traffic around there means that run of 5 wins in 7 earlier in the season is keeping them in the automatics 2-2, it says in the feed. Barkhausen seems to have played himself into the team with that double and a couple of good performances. Alex Neil's been very, very keen to rotate. And will their incredible high scoring rate continue? Who knows? It's not like they carve out tons and tons of chances, but they do play with a lot of intensity and have brave runners getting ahead of their strikers, if you count the number 10, who virtually always seems to be up with the striker, whoever that may be, Brown or Johnson, particularly this season. Charlton seem to have played most of the top 7 in the last few weeks. They played Leeds, Swansea, Fulham, Bristol City and West Brom, all in those past 6 games. This will be another very, very tricky one. Kayal and Ostuma both used in Johnny Williams' absence last time. Bon is sticking the goals in, though. He's been a very good deputy for Lyle Taylor. Cullen and Gallagher are probably the starters of the team in that midfield. They're 8 points in 8, though, is a bit of a slowdown. Joshua says 4-2 Preston, continuing the high scoring, I guess. That 1 point per game over 8 games has seen Charlton drop out of the top 6, but they're still in contention, and given their budget and circumstances, just promoted League One team, they're having a very, very good time of it. I think I might sit on the fence with this one and go for a draw. I can't see Preston going there and winning, despite how well they play. I think Preston's best performances all tend to be save for Deepdale, don't they? But I also can't see Charlton turning them over that easily. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one. Sit on the fence. No help for either. But if you look at the theme of none of the top teams putting together long winning runs, then that would be about right for this season, wouldn't it? Game number 3, Leeds versus QPR. Leeds 3rd, QPR in 8th. Now, they too, like Charlton, have been in the top 6 and dropped down out of the top 6. Leeds, 5 points from the 3-game week, and considering that they were away at 2 top 6 teams and the injury problems, that's actually not too bad, isn't it? If you have 6 points from a 3-game week, then that's absolutely fine. So it's only 1 away from that, isn't it? Leeds points per game is also indicative of the top 6. Out of the top 9, 6 of those teams only have 2 wins from their last 6, which is just strange for this time of the season. There's normally a few teams, going hell for leather. Now, I think we normally have 2 or 3 at least teams on 2 points per game as well, and we have 0. Luke says 3-0 to Leeds. Cooper is back. He came on at the end of the Sheffield Wednesday game. Forshaw, no, we're not expecting him. Hernandez and Shackleton potentially back into the squad as well. Hernandez been a big miss, hasn't he? Will Bielsa stick with the 3 at the back? You'd think once Hernandez is available, he could go back. Oh, Samuel says Bamford has a knock. That might be the chance that Nketiah has been waiting for. We'll see how that pans out. Lot to kind of watch at Leeds while these few players come back, particularly in terms of back 3 or back 4, and whether Nketiah can displace Bamford up the top there. I've seen the last 2 QPR games actually through quirks of my schedule. Derek says 2-1. Luke says Nketiah looking like starting. QPR drew with Reading, lost at home to Brentford. Hugo was suspended for the Brentford game, so I'm assuming Rangers will stick with a back 4. Hugo will come back up top. It's a nice out ball, especially when you're playing someone like Leeds, who are going to strangle you for possession. Wells will likely tuck in behind him. Eze's not getting dropped, so you think one of Chair or Samuel will miss out, although Samuel was very good down the right wing against Rico Henry in the game against Brentford. So maybe that will be the way Warburton goes, and Chair will miss out. QPR have had a little sense of beating, punishing teams below them and losing out to some good teams this season. They concede a hell of a lot of goals. So as much as it's boring, people say I always back Leeds. I don't see QPR getting a clean sheet, which means they would have to score 2. They're perfectly capable of doing that, but in a stretched game, surely Leeds will take this one. Super Leeds says Eddie hat-trick. That would keep him in the team, wouldn't it? Let's go for a Leeds win, which, according to my maths, would put them top and put the pressure on West Brom going into their game. On Monday, game number 4 is Wigan versus Swansea. Swansea in 4th, Wigan in 18th. Swans have had a mixed bag recently, haven't they? Strange home defeat against Stoke before international break. Overly rotated team, then draws at lowly Barnsley. Demolished at home to Brentford, but then they get that good win on the TV against Cardiff in the Welsh Derby. Cooper not using Baston for the Cardiff game. AU went down the middle. 3 pacey guys in behind. 1-1 in the feed coming up there. I assume that was just because Cardiff is land of the Giants and he wanted Selina, Routledge and Dyer buzzing about and getting around those guys. And against Wigan, I think Baston comes back and AU goes in the 3 off the front. Let's see what he does, especially given Baston has a fair few goals to his name already this season. Will Wigan flex their brilliant home record again? 4 wins out of 6. Only Leeds able to beat Wigan at the DW this season. I think that was Luke said Swansea win and they're back in the mix. Haven't seen Wigan in the flesh this season. Recent highlights package, I keep seeing them missing big gilt-edged chances. So they're creating them, they're not taking them. And I thought they were unlucky to not get anything at Derby, 91st minute, and chances missed in that one. And they could have got more at Bristol City as well. There was a big one-on-one, I think it was Massey missed that one at 2-1 up. So not finishing well in the key moments, Wigan, although they seem to do that at home. So Swansea have been watching lots of Che Dunkley footage. He's got 5 goals from centre half, all from corners, I assume. I remember 4 of them all being from corners, so I'm sure the other one was 2. I'm not going to back against Wigan at home, I have to say, so I can go for a draw in this one. Swansea are a good side, but Wigan are just stupendously good at home and awful away. So let's go for a draw in that one as well. Game number 5 is Blackburn versus Sheffield Wednesday. Blackburn 17th, Wednesday 5th. I saw Sheffield Wednesday home to Leeds in the monsoon pouring rain of Yorkshire last weekend. They're looking more and more like a top 8, top 7, top 6 team as they go through under Gary Monk. Seem to have enough experienced, sturdy players, Fletcher, Westwood, Hutchison, etc. And they've got the quality as well with Reach and Bannon. And already 2 away wins under Gary Monk as well. So they're not flat track bullying this. Close to a third as well. If Aidan Flint doing his star jumps in front of the keeper at Cardiff had been disallowed, then there would have been another away win. So looking very good, actually, Sheffield Wednesday. Blackburn are not looking very good at all. They were 2-0 up at Preston, thought they were going to end their recent terrible run. And Derek says 2-1 there in the chat to Wednesday. They managed to lose this one. At least Sam Gallagher, he's been one of the slowest of the summer signing strikers to break his duck. He finally gets his goal. Elements working well. Stuart Downing's passing is good from the deep line midfield position. Dak started the season well, but it's just not clicking yet, is it? Very leaky at the back since Cunningham and Lenihan went out. 2 points from the last 6 games. That is horrific relegation form, isn't it? But last season, whenever they had a bad run, Blackburn seemed to turn it around, pull out a clean sheet, and away they go. I have to say, though, I fancy Sheffield Wednesday in this one, so it's going to be a lesser spotted me predicting an away win here. Gary Monk to get the win, and Dasher Dude agrees with me in the chat. It says 1-0 to Wednesday. Game number 6 is Barnsley versus Bristol City. I will be at this one tomorrow night, so look out for the review of that one. First time seeing Barnsley this season, so another one to tick off. I have seen Bristol City twice, and for those of you who follow Leeds, who accuse me of being a curse to Leeds, well, Bristol City have played 14 games this season. They've lost 2, and I've seen them twice. Get switched 2. I was at. Luke says 0-0 all over it. I am not travelling up there for a 0-0. Luke, not doing it. Super League says 0-1. Hargrave Vegas, I think that says. Barnsley to win 2-1. Bristol City 6th, Barnsley 24th. Jacob says 3-0 Bristol City. Having said that, we don't play well when you see us, yeah. So I'm now the curse of Leeds and Bristol City. Let's change that. Irene forgives me. Thank you, Irene. So Bristol City missed a chance. They could have gone second if they'd won at home to Wigan, but I can't contradict myself. I said a couple of minutes ago Wigan could have won that one with that big, massive chance. Still only 2 defeats this season, 2 wins in 3 prior to that. Jeju is suspended after his red card. That's a 3-game one as well. Lee Johnson is also banned for being a potty mouth at Luton. So Callas and Corey Smith may make the squad. They've missed Callas, haven't they? Callas or Afobe, they could have coped with better, but Callas and Afobe. More likely to be okay. I thought more. A few times now I've seen him, let me know if I'm wrong, Bristol City fans, I've seen more make mistakes for a goal. Jacob says Smith injured till January. I checked on Bristol Post and he's returned to the to the training, I think, maybe. So, yeah, maybe you're right, and I've misread that. Adam Nagy unlikely, De Silva and Afobe, long-term injuries. Barnsley, they took points off Swansea and West Brom in the 3-game week, lost to Huddersfield, still haven't won since the opening day. Remember, draws, the context is always, draws are okay if you follow them up with a win at some point, especially if you're down the bottom. My team, Ipswich, I followed them last season, watched all those bottom 6, draw, lost, draw, lost, draw, and one win pops up every 8 or 10 games or something. So that will not do. In that instance, draws will not be enough. And again, I've talked about it, the big game coming up against Stoke to close out the international break. So it could be off the bottom, could have a shootout in that game. We will see. Adam Murray still in charge. Not sure what's happening manager-wise. I assume someone else will come in, but I thought they'd have someone already. So who knows when a final decision is going to be made on that. I think Bristol City are going to win this one, I have to say. I know Barnsley have picked up a couple of draws, but I think Bristol City will have enough intent in this one throughout the game to get one or two goals and take the away win. So, and I would like that to end another curse before I get accused of cursing another team. So we will see what happens there. Look out for my review for that. Game number 7, Fulham versus Hull. Fulham in 7th, Hull in 13th. Fulham, 4 points from the 3-game week. They lost at Stoke, beat Luton, and drew at Borough, so one of each. Although that's not too bad considering the 10 men they played with from the 17th minute. Rodak got sent off, didn't he? Fulham likely without Arter and Johansson. So Harrison Reed, Tom Kearney, and one of Bobby Reed and Josh Anoma in. Anoma was unlucky. He was the guy that got the hook when Rodak got sent off. He is obviously suspended. 3-0 Fulham, 3-1 Fulham. So couple of heavy shouts for Fulham there. Bettinelli will come back into goal. Hull, back-to-back wins. That will bump you up the table to 13th if you are Hull. McGuinness had played himself into the team, got himself up top, and then got himself suspended. Jared Bowen then goes up front and obviously scores 2 goals because he's Jared Bowen. So not sure what he'll do. I suppose if I'm Grant McCann and I'm not going to have too much possession, maybe I want an out ball and I want Eves to come in. Who knows? They can do a lot of damage from the wings with Bowen and Grzycki, especially given how high Joe Bryan and Adoy or Sessegnon, whoever's playing on the other side. But there should be some gaps. So maybe Bowen's actually more a danger on the wing and Eves will play. I think Hull will score in this one, but I think Fulham will score more goals than Hull in this one. So I've got to go for a Fulham home win, but Bowen in lovely form. And it'd be interesting to see if he did get a run down the middle. It's not doing any harm to Ollie Watkins, is it, at Brentford? Game number 8, Luton versus Forest. Forest 10th, Luton 19th. Forest game postponed last weekend due to play at home to Reading, but it was back-to-back defeats before then, so maybe a break will have done them good. 10 days now between games, never did anybody any harm, did it? Feels like the first rough waters that Sabri Lamouchi has had to negotiate. It's been kind of plain sailing. Sorry, that was 2 sailing cliches in one paragraph there, not good. But it feels like the first test for Lamouchi, let's just say, in his tenure as Forest manager. Luton, after they thumped Bristol City, I was there, going back to being competitive and losing by the odd goal, which is not a good habit. Luke says 2-0 Forest. Derek says 1-0 Forest in the chat here. Luton tended not to win against the upper ranked teams until that Bristol City game. So maybe that will give them some confidence. And surely Easy Brown's form should give them some confidence now. He's well high up on the assist list and very high up on the key passing list. I think Luton get something from this one. I think they'll probably score. So let's go for a scoring draw in this one, or the thing that Luton do, play well and lose by 1. Let's go for a scoring draw. Game number 9 is Cardiff versus Birmingham. Birmingham 11th, Cardiff 14th. Birmingham showing nice potential again, but last time they did this, they then let us down with a period of 3 straight defeats at one point, didn't they? Back-to-back wins. 3 wins in 4 as well is fantastic. That's 9 points in 4 games for them. Creative players looking good. Villarreal, Crowley, they scored that brilliant goal, obviously, with the fullbacks combining. Maxim Collin, obviously, at right back, having a very, very good season. Can they keep it up? Cardiff still missing their sparkle. 2 points in the last 4 is very poor from them. Defeat in the Welsh Derby. Warnock still tinkering like anything here. We've had Smithies and Etheridge in goal. We've had Glatzel. Then we've had Ward. Then we had both of them in the last game. We've had midfield 2s. Then he did a 3 in one of the home games, didn't he, against Wednesday? And he doesn't look like any closer to finding the 3 off the front. We've had Mendes-Lang. We've had Hoylett. We've had White. We've had Murphy, we've had Tomlin, we've had Patterson. So he's all over the place, Warnock, with his selection here. Needs to settle down on something. But I think it's a chicken or the egg. He'll settle down once the team starts winning, not the other way around. So until they start winning, he's going to keep chopping and changing. Cardiff also starting to look a bit like Wigan. 14 points from 6 home games is outstandingly good. 4 points from 8 away. This game is in Cardiff, so I'm going to go with that home away conundrum and give Cardiff the home win. He needs to find something to click, doesn't he? Warnock maybe finds it in this game. Game number 10, Brentford versus Huddersfield. Brentford 12th, Huddersfield 20th. Brentford, the heroes of the 3-game week. Only team, yes, I'm right, to take all 9 points. Brilliant stuff. That is no mean feat. Watch how many times when we see in the review this year how many teams actually do that. It's normally no more than 2 in a 3-game week. Nick says Brentford 3-0. Dasher says Brentford 2-0 there in the chat. I complained, I think, last weekend on the preview that Brentford weren't scoring enough and Benrahma hadn't come to the fore yet. And I suggested that those 2 things might be linked. Well, this week Benrahma started playing well. I think he got 2 assists against Millwall, didn't he? He scored a worldie against Swansea and he was great against QPR. So, yeah, they're at it now, Brentford. But how many times have they done this where they've looked like, away they go and, they're going to destroy everybody now and get into the top 6 and win the playoffs. And then they go on some weird losing run and end up changing their formation. So, hey, that could happen again. Huddersfield, the second to Brentford in the form charts over those past 6 games. The only other 2 points per game team over the 6. But, despite the Cowleys sorting them out, 2 of the 3 wins were against the bottom 2, Stoke and Barnsley. They've got Brentford and Preston coming out, which is a much stiffer test, although Carlin Grant seems to score against whoever. Having seen Brentford on Monday, I've got to go for Brentford. And Buemo, Watkins and Benrahma, superb off the front. Norgard is a good player as well, a deep line playmaker. Legs from De Silva and Makocho. I liked it a lot, but hey, we've seen Brentford kill teams and not follow it up many times. But I'm going to go for a home win for Brentford in this one. Game 11, Reading versus Millwall, the battle of 2 new managers, Mark Bowen and Gary Rowett. Now, Millwall 15th, Reading 21st. Gary Rowett won his first game in charge. Great start. He beat his old team Stoke, but he does not have the advantage of intimately knowing the skills, strengths, weaknesses of the Reading players when he may have of Stoke. Jed Wallace is in good form down the right. Ben Thompson scored from the 10 position. Tom Bradshaw's having a good season. I said this, if you start building around a team where it's Mollenby and Thompson, Ferguson, Wallace, Bradshaw, smaller technical players, we may see a bit of a scene change at Millwall. Let's see, as long as he keeps hold of that tight defence there. Luke says 2-0 already. Derek says 1-1. I think it was Little Crow said if they play like they played in the first half against Cardiff, they will be fine. Reading also have Mark Bowen in charge. He's had 2 games, but he was already there, wasn't he? He was the sporting director and the consultant before that, although he didn't hire himself. He's brought back Bulldog, who was a menace actually in the game at QPR, got a goal there. McClary Gunter in from the cold. Millwall 2-1. So Steve in New Zealand. Steve, what time is it in New Zealand? Bloody hell, that's a long way away. Steve says Warnock 3-0. Is he talking about Cardiff Or is he talking about Millwall? Who knows? Reading postponed in their last game against Forest, so they've had a rest as well. It's quite a hard one to call. Reading were actually quite good. 8:25 a.m. Goodness me. Reading were actually quite good against QPR, and I think they might have got a bit lucky with the late goal against Preston. But 4 points in 2 so far. Got a bit of momentum. Double new manager bounce. Let's go for a low-scoring draw in this one. I should mention Ajara as well. He was excellent as a number 10 in that game at QPR. Yeah, do you know, I'm edging towards Reading. Let's stick with a low-scoring draw. Game number 12, last but not least, is Derby versus Borough. Derby 16th, Borough 22nd. More off-the-pitch stuff to talk about at Derby, but check out my video on Richard Keogh's firing yesterday. I think there's about 100 comments on that now. And I won't give my opinion. I'll say watch the video. But what I will say is, in the main, the comments a lot to the effect of they understand sacking Keogh, but they don't understand just sacking Keogh if that's not specifically a financial decision. All of that could be true. It could be a financial decision, and that could have been the reason they've done it. But let's not get into the weeds on that. Dasher says 0-0. Colm says 1-0 to Derby. On the pitch, despite 2 defeats in 3, they've got 10 points in the last 6, which is thoroughly decent form. Dowell got another go at number 10 in the last game. Koku still messing around with this. The team that I saw win at Huddersfield on the opening day is completely different proposition now. So let's see what he goes with. Borough worrying now, down into the bottom 3. 3 points in the last 7, 1 win in 10, 1 goal in the last 4. I've seen Ashley Fletcher, who I like, miss sitters in like 2 of the last 3 games as well. Not taking the chances that they're making does look rather worrying, and for that reason I will go for a Derby County victory in this one. Super Lee says Woodgate's last game. Well, remember, there's an international break 1 game after this, but yeah, it'd be interesting. I doubt very much they would be bottom, but they could easily be second bottom. No, they won't be, will they? Stoke or Barnsley aren't going to score 4 points in 2 games, are they? Especially given one of them are playing West Brom. They're playing each other. Yes, that's definitely not going to happen. Talking complete rubbish. Thank you everybody for watching. There's been a couple of technical difficulties here, so if there are any people in the feed who want to ask a question, if it's all working properly, then please do, and I will take that. In the meantime, I will say follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications, and you can help me out on Patreon if you so desire. We are looking at a match review on Friday. We'll do the full for Barnsley and Bristol City. Looking forward to that. There should be a match experience then for that on Saturday. We'll get the review done. I might even do a Sunday morning, Joe, because I'm not at a game on Saturday. And then we will be back into another week. I might try and get to the Ipswich game on Tuesday. That will say. Luke says who will finish in the top 2. No bloody idea, Luke. So tight. No, I remember that season. Nick asked if I'll go to Oxford. I will go if it's on, but doesn't look like it, does it? I know West Brom are top, so that's easy for me to say. But we saw years where like Brighton and Newcastle would be well clear by now, going from, remember, Wolves that season, 1-2. It's just no team there. Where are the parachute teams as well? Fulham, 7th, aren't they? Huddersfield, nowhere to be seen as well. Who's the other parachute team? Who am I forgetting? For goodness sakes. Huddersfield, I said, didn't I? Stoke. My God, who's the other parachute team? Someone tell me in the chat. There's some nice football. Oh, Cardiff. Thank you, Little Crow. So none of the parachute teams are even in the top 6. Luke says West Brom and Swansea, and he's a Leeds fan. I think Leeds need to have Hernandez literally fit for the whole season and go back to that back 4 for that to happen. Any more questions? If not, we've done nearly half an hour, so I will hang up the chat. As usual, thank you everybody for tuning in. check out the Barnsley Bristol City review, and I will see you all. I'll advertise it in advance for the live stream. Fish look nice. Yes, someone noticed, for God's sake. The algae is clear. New lights for Marcus and Stuart in the fish tank. They're beautiful. Will you and DJ says, will you and Ben HD stop singing Saeed's praises until February? That's DJ Skipper asking that. Sorry, no, he's brilliant. And whatever my ticket costs, if Ben Rama is playing, I'm happy to pay it just to come. And him and Eze in the same game, that was just like they're trying to outskill each other at one point. And there's just little bits that go unnoticed, little first touches where he'll just kill the ball and make it look so effortless. So no, I'm sorry, not going to stop singing Ben Rama's praises. He could be the next big one. Aston Villa, maybe Dean Smith will try and take him again. Right, anyway, you caught me on Ben Rama, you'll know I'll talk about that, but yes, brilliant player. Right, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Over and out.